Hi guys, I'm going to take us through some recommendations for ways in which we might modify our CrossFit Linchpin workouts for kids. We're going to take a closer look at Tuesday the 26th of April. We've got a great one to look at today. We're going to take a look at one of the new benchmarks, Grettel. We've got 10 rounds for time, 3 clean and jerk, and then 3 burpees over the bar. I'm going to take you through what this might look like in a class structure, talk about why I've adapted it in some of the ways I have, and also talk about some of the stimuluses that I'll be hoping you'd get from each section of the workout and some of the points that I might use to coach. So I'm going to start with a general warm-up. This is a great warm-up that I found in the CrossFit Startup curriculum. This is a resource I keep coming back to all of the time. It's a 400-meter skill run. So you're going to set up your 400-meter track and then put markings down every 20 meters. At every 20-meter section, the children are going to perform a skill movement. It could be squats, mountain climbers, presses, jumping jacks. It could be some rolls, so some opportunity to stimulate the vestibular system. It could be some broad jumps, some opportunities to stimulate some impact loading. And then you designate a number of reps for each of those movements, and then the children carry on that 400-meter run. It's quite a nice idea to keep the group together on this, and it gives you an opportunity to get them generally warm, get their heart rates up, but also for you to assess their movement, and also just to make sure the group are tuned in, ready for the session. After you've spent about 10 minutes, I've allotted 10 minutes for the general warm-up, you're going to spend some time working on the skills for today's workout. Now, when adapting this workout, I thought about what would I like to get out of this. Well, I'd like to get some more impact loading in. So I've adapted the burpees slightly. Also, for most of our children, doing a clean and jerk might be too complex, but I quite like the idea of having the foundational movement of a clean in there, and I also quite like the idea of the press in there as well. So I've come up with a way that you might be able to use this with your children. Depending on where they're at, you might need to adapt it. So you pick only one of those movements for, especially your younger children, one of those movements for the workout, and then you'd adjust the workout accordingly. So we're going to work on the 10 minutes during that specific warm-up. First of all, the dumbbell hang power clean, or it might be an unloaded hang power clean, or with something like a ball. I'm going to show you a video of what both of those might look like. Now, the focus during that dumbbell hang power clean, well, the stimulus is going to be a foundational movement, a functional movement, but also the coaching might look like you're going to probably use the terminology dip, so that nice vertical dip like we'd see in a push press, dip, and then that shrug, keeping the arms long, shrugging, and then you're going to drop, so they're dropping under the object rather than pulling the object up. You'll see in my video of my son, we're still working on this a little, and there's a little bit of a pull in there as he's receiving. And then after they've dropped under the object, there's going to be a stand. And then you're going to possibly start unloading with your thumbs against the trousers, the sides. Then move on to possibly something like a dodgeball. And then if they're competent, using some dumbbells. And then again with our dumbbell push press, well, we can obviously start unloaded with the without any load in the hands. They're just putting their thumbs on in that front rack position. And then again, the focus on this push press is going to, for me, it will be keeping that vertical torso, not dipping too high, extending the knees forward, making sure that their shoulders in line with their hips, and then standing and then pressing. So making sure that they're not pressing too early. Now, the way I've adapted it for the workout, after you've spent some time on the skills, I've got the 3 dumbbell hang power cleans, so they're going to work on that aspect, and then you've got 2 burpee broad jumps. So again, we've got some impact loading in here, and the reason I've chosen the burpee broad jump is just really to try and get them to jump as far as they can, really give them an opportunity to stimulate that impact loading. So they're going to do 1 burpee broad jump out, 1 burpee broad jump back, and then pick up the object, dumbbells if they're using them, and then they'll perform 3 dumbbell push press or unloaded push press. And then again, they'll go back to doing 2 burpee broad jumps, and then 1 out, 1 back, and then they'll cycle back to the dumbbell hang power cleans. I must say, my son did this workout earlier, and it was really spicy. So I allotted 10 minutes for this section of the session. However, I would keep this workout closer to the 5-minute time domain. It's really, really spicy. He was really out of breath quite quickly. As you can see, there's quite a lot of sort of dynamic movements in there. So it's understandable that it's going to give that sort of stimulus. So remember, only keep the workout going for as long as they're moving well, they're showing focus, and before they hit that point of exhaustion. Okay, we don't want them to get to that point of exhaustion just yet. After the workout, we come to the most important part of our CrossFit Kids session. We've got the game. We're going to allot about 10 minutes to this game, possibly more if you have a bigger group. And you probably will gain some time because the workout will be a bit shorter this week. And we're going to play a game called Crows and Cranes. So you're going to set up a playing area. You'll have one cone, 2 cones about 1 meter apart, opposite each other, and then a zone to run to at either end. And then one side will be nominated crows, the other side will be nominated the cranes. And then the coach will shout crows. The crows need to get to their zone before the cranes tag them. And then if you shout cranes, the cranes would need to get to their zone before the crows tag them. Now, if the athletes get caught, you can ask them to perform one of our foundational movements for reps. Be careful not to use the term punishment, because we don't want the children to associate exercise with punishment. Just say, oh, unlucky you lost, but at least you get the opportunity to practice one of our foundational movements now. And a lot, 3 to 5 reps of that movement that you were choosing. After you finish the game, we come to sort of the end of our sessions. We've got cool down, challenges and study time. So I've just put some skipping here. That could be that your children are learning to skip for the first time. It could be that they're working on some double unders that they're almost ready for. Again, I keep referring to the CrossFit Kids Startup Curriculum, but in there it's a fantastic resource, and we've got the challenges there that you can use during this proportion, where you're possibly getting the children to name as many of the points of performance of the squat, or can they how many foods can they name that have protein in, or carbohydrates, or foods that are predominantly fats. So you could allot some time to that. Again, some study, some math question, or some time to read. I hope you find this helpful, guys. There's going to be a video there showing you a workout demo and some alternative movements for the hang power clean. Thanks very much, guys. A couple of things I focus on with the dumbbell hang power clean. It's knees tracking the toes on the dip. You can see there just coming a little. Also an upright torso on the dip, and then keeping those dumbbells as close as possible. Really good. You can see his knee position improves on the last 2 reps. Good. With the burpee broad jumps, real only point of performance I'm really focusing on is knees out as he lands. The focus here on the push press is the upright torso on the dip, and also the finish position overhead. For this first option of the unloaded hang power clean, we're thinking about keeping an upright torso on the dip and keeping those hands close to the body the whole time throughout the movement. With the hang power clean with the ball, we're really looking at the dip, shrug, and then drop under the ball. Here you can see my son isn't quite doing that just as much. He does it better on the last one here.